Episode 4. Who's picking up your tab? Government and Policy. Hey there, and welcome to Who's Picking Up Your Tab, the podcast where we unpack the shiny stories of innovation and ask, wait a minute, who really made this possible? I'm your host, and my name is Pam, and today we're talking about someone who shows up in every single chapter of innovation history but never gets a seat at the cool kids table. The government. I know, you heard government and your eyes instinctively started to glaze over. You're thinking, red tape, grant paperwork, ugh, and meetings that could have been emails. But hang in there, because today's episode is about the often invisible scaffolding that holds the entire innovation economy together. Behind almost every breakthrough we celebrate, that is, every app, rocket launch, or voice assistants accidentally ordering dog food at 2 a.m., there's a public investment. And someone, somewhere, picked up the tab.
Ready for a plot twist? While Silicon Valley's been hogging the spotlight, there's been another venture capitalist in town, one that's been bankrolling innovation since before startups were cool. Let's peek behind the curtain of public funding and private success stories.
Segment 1. The Unsung Investor. Public dollars, private glory. So, let's kick this off with a pop quiz. What do the internet, GPS, and voice recognition all have in common? Answer: they were all funded by the US government. Yep, the internet started as OpNet, a DARPA project. GPS? GPS? Originally military tech, now guiding your Uber and your impulse buys from Amazon. And voice recognition, think Siri, Alexa, also has roots in government research grants. Agencies like DARPA, that is the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, if you want to impress someone at a dinner party, that is, them, the National Science Foundation, and NASA have quietly bankrolled some of the most important tech in the past century. Here's the twist. The private sector often waits until something is proven before investing. The government? Well, the government is the risk taker, the early stage angel investor for humanity. And they don't even ask for equity. No, all they want from you is that you just stop ignoring the census. So when you hear about a tech startup revolutionizing something, ask yourself, did they build it from scratch? Or did they just color in the lines that public research already drew?
Speaking of drawing lines, ever wonder who's writing the rulebook for this grand tech game we're all playing? Buckle up. We're about to dive into the fascinating world where bureaucracy meets breakthrough.
Segment 2. Policy, the invisible hand on the steering wheel. Let's talk policy. Yes, I know, your favorite dinner topic. But here's the truth. Policies are the rules of the innovation game. Think about it. Who decides who gets a patent? Who breaks up monopolies when one company starts acting like the big boss of the internet? Who says, hey, maybe we shouldn't sell people's private data like baseball cards? It's policymakers, legislators, regulators, the folks who write the fine print that most of us never read, but all of us live by. So let's take clean energy. It's growing because of tax credits and subsidies. Without those, well, solar panels would still be a luxury item. and electric vehicles still stuck in some concept car limbo. Or take the GDPR in Europe, a privacy law so strong it made tech giants blink. It changed how global companies operate because somebody decided, hey, data rights should be a thing. Regulation isn't always elegant. And yes, sometimes it's a mess, but it plays a vital role. It sets boundaries, it protects consumers, and when done right, it creates fair lanes for competition. Without it, innovation would be a digital wild, wild west.
Now let's get down to the nuts and bolts. Literally. Because behind every genius invention and groundbreaking app, there's a whole lot of concrete, cables, and yes, even sewage pipes making it all possible.
Segment 3: Infrastructure, the innovation foundation you do not see. So, let's talk concrete and cables and the sewer system because, hey, innovation doesn't live on vibes alone. Imagine trying to launch $1 million app in a place with no reliable electricity, or no cell towers, or where the roads are so bad your 2-day shipping turns into something before the apocalypse. Infrastructure is the boring stuff that makes all exciting stuff possible. Fiber optic networks, government investment. Public transportation systems, government planning. Water, power, roads, broadband, all collective efforts. Even your ability to sit in a cafe and complain about how slow your Wi Fi is, that's infrastructure. That's a system someone built and maintained. Entrepreneurs love to talk about building from the ground up. But let's be honest, if the ground is muddy and the power's out, that startup pitch isn't going anywhere.
Now that we've built up this impressive innovation infrastructure, here's the million-dollar question. What happens when someone decides to pull the plug on all of this? Let's dive into the high-stakes game of keeping these vital systems running.
Segment 4: What happens when the tab gets closed? Now, here's where it gets a little dicey. Government support isn't a guarantee. It depends on policy decisions, funding votes, and public will. Yep, your vote matters here too. In recent years, we've seen budget cuts proposed for science programs, public education, and even agencies like DARPA and the Department of Energy and the Department of Education. Sometimes it's called streamlining. Sometimes it's wrapped up in buzzwords like efficiency or clever acronyms like Doge. And no, not the meme coin, though it might be more transparent. But here's the danger. When we slash public investment, we're not just cutting off fluff, we're cutting the muscle that made modern tech possible. So let's play the what if game. What if Elon Musk had launched SpaceX during a time when NASA had zero funding and no interest in commercial partnerships? Or what if Tesla didn't benefit from EV tax credits? Would those companies have succeeded or even existed? Private companies love disruption, but no disruption scales without a power grid, the air traffic control system, or public school educated workers showing up at the job site. So let's wrap this up. We spent a lot of time talking about inventors, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. And yes, they matter. But the government? The collective we has been in the background funding, enabling, and protecting progress the whole time. It lays the foundation, it builds the roads, literally and metaphorically, and it funds the science that makes moonshots possible, and yet rarely gets a thank you. Maybe that's because it's not flashy, or maybe it's because we've forgotten that the public investment is just that, an investment, one that deserves recognition, appreciation, and yes, continued support. So, the next time you hear a success story, ask yourself, who really picked up that tab? Your turn, and what's next? Now, I would love to hear from you. What is a public investment you think gets overlooked? Is it your public library? That highway you curse during rush hour but secretly rely on? The grant that paid for your cousin's research internship? Tag me on social, hashtag who's picking up your tab, and drop a voice message. I would love to include your reflections in a future episode. And in the next full episode, we will look at another invisible force behind success: culture and community. Because sometimes the biggest boosts come from people around you, sharing, mentoring, and helping you stay grounded as you reach for the stars. I am Pam, and this has been Who's Picking Up Your Tab? Thanks for listening, and thanks for caring about the systems, people, and policies that hold all of us up.